Today, Caitlin and I are going to be discussing the 9 most common pet peeves among fitness coaches, and especially among us that have come up as well. And then we're going to dive into a very important subject on motivation and mindset. In fact, we were asked today about how to stay motivated. So we want to give you a framework on how we stay motivated, and hopefully some of the things we tell you on how we stay motivated will help you get motivated. So let's dive right in. Let's do it. So pet peeve number 1. Ready?
Yeah, you're just going to list them off?
Let's rock and roll. Do you want me to go over it all first?
No. Just go right through it and I'll talk a little bit about it.
Sounds good. All right. Number 1, lack of commitment to programs and inconsistent effort.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is a pet peeve. I see this all the time. People just inconsistent with proper programming. I mean, going from program to program without actually doing it for 3 to 6 months, you'll see zero improvement. And I can honestly say that. You need to stick with something for at least 3 to 6 months. And when we say consistently stick with it, I would say at least 4 to 6 times a week would be consistent. And if you don't do that, I mean, you're going to see zero progress. And if you just keep bouncing around, never actually sticking or seeing something through, forget it. You'll have nothing.
Yeah, it's very common, especially I see this a lot with new people coming into fitness, is they always see a bright, shiny object. They're like, ooh, this looks cool. Like, what do you think about me doing Zumba? Or like, should I add in more? And a lot of times people think more is better, or that this magic program is going to be the one that really gives me the results I'm looking for. When really, at the end of the day, there's no replacement for just pure consistency.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter for many individuals, and I'm going to say 90% of the adults out there in the population. You're going to see results if you just consistently do something again for 3 to 6 months, and you're going to see. I mean, it's so much easier when you're starting out and when you're just kind of like average in that sense. I mean, you don't need a lot of stimulus, you don't need a lot of intensity. You're going to see results just by adding it to your routine and it becoming a part of your life. So I think a lot of people expect a lot more, a lot faster.
Yeah. And don't get ahead of yourself because that's coming up soon.
I'm sure.
Let's get right into number 2, which is not tracking progress and setting unrealistic goals.
Oh gosh, not tracking progress. Number 1. Super ridiculous in that sense. It's so easy to track your progress. I mean, we used to do it by pen and paper in a composition book. Now there are apps galore. We use SugarWOD for our gym itself. And if you don't know how to track, that's again on you. You could easily ask one of the many coaches how to track something and to show you. You could also watch a YouTube video. There are resources out there on how to track and how to do this, and why it's important is so that you can see progress. Because if you're not seeing progress, you're only getting worse. Mm-hmm. And that's true across the board, right? We see it in all aspects of life. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. There's really no staying in place. And so you need to track these things. Track how you feel, track what you did, what weight you did, how many reps you did, like how you felt that day. There are so many different things that go into a workout that people take for granted, honestly. And I saw that a lot when I was pregnant, right? I would do a lot of workouts scaled, and I would mark it as scaled, but silly me, a couple years ago, I wouldn't really write too much on, what I did scaled or what was going on. And I had to kind of look at the date and be like, oh, I was pregnant at that time. That's why I scaled it, right? But good to know in the mindset of if you ever do the same workout or the same movement again, you can compare and contrast and be like, am I getting better? Or what was going on at that time that might have influenced my result.
Exactly. Like if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
There is unfortunately, like the reality that a lot of people, including myself, have fallen into is that, well, I'm just going to maintain.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is not reality.
No.
And also, I like what you said about tracking and being able to look back and see how far you've come, because I think a lot of times we get locked into this there's this whole term actually called the gap and gain. It's actually a great book also called The Gap and the Gain. And a lot of times we get caught up in the gap, which is like, I should be here. Mm-hmm. And then we forget to look at the gain, which is like, we actually have to look backwards. So instead of looking at where you want to go, look backwards to how far you've come. Like, all right, especially like if you look back 3 years ago and you're a completely different person and you're better for that, then that is a huge success.
Yeah. And if you're doing the same level of fitness and you have maybe more stressors in life, you're working more, or you have another kid or whatever it is, and you're still able and your abilities are still just as good as you were a few years ago, that also means you're getting better because you're aging and you're able to still do things, with good quality and whatnot, with a bunch of other things going on. So I think people really need to be a little bit more positive. And that's why tracking is so important, I think. And anybody can track, no matter what level of fitness you are, you need to track your results. Tracking doesn't always mean writing it down, by the way. It also means videoing. And taking pictures,
document it.
Yeah, document it. We are in a great day and age where you can video and take a picture of anything and nobody has to know.
You don't have to post it on Instagram.
Yeah, you don't have to go develop the film or have anybody see it. It's just for you to see your progress. And I think, and this is just another thing. People don't always see their progress right away, but things are happening and your body is changing. That's why measurements is another way of tracking your progress. I know a lot of people just weigh themselves on the scale. I do have one client that does measurements, and it's a lot more positive for this individual because they know that things are happening and change. Even though the scale's not moving, their body composition is changing. And so, people don't really do measurements anymore because, I don't know, we've gotten away from that for whatever reason. But, you could do that still.
Yeah.
So
that's a great point because not all progress is visible. And sometimes you have to look back years to see how far you've really come.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and the short-term mindset, which is actually our next point. And
wait, what was the second part of that? I only talked about tracking.
Unrealistic goals.
Oh, God, that's a whole nother thing. Unrealistic goals. Gosh, I see that all the time. People thinking they're going to lose 10 to 15 pounds in 1 month. That is so unrealistic, by the way. If you lose 5 pounds in 1 month, that is amazing.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's amazing. And so I think people need to ask questions or do some research as far as what is normal and what is good, and coming to a better rationalization of what is a good standard and what you should uphold.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also that people have unrealistic timelines on when they can achieve this. I can't tell you how many times people have come to me and be like, hey, what would I how fast do you think I could lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks? And I'm like, well, you can, but it's not going to be fun. You're going to hate life.
Hard.
Is it possible? Yes, but do you have what it takes to actually do it, and will you actually follow through with it? Probably not. So let's choose a plan that's a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah, other than just losing weight, it's how long till I get a pull-up? Months, probably. Depending on where you are at. But if you have zero upper body strength, it's going to take months and a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of work.
I can't believe how many emails and messages I've gotten with people who have been at the gym for a month, and then they literally say these words, which is, I feel like I should see better results in the last month. Yes. And I'm like, okay, well, let's reassess here. How long have you been working out?
1 month.
30 days. How frequently? Okay, twice a week.
Yeah. So realistically, you worked out 10 times.
Exactly. So, and how many years have you gone without working out? 10 years. Okay. So you did 10 workouts in a month.
Compared to 10 years of nothing.
of having a less favorable health lifestyle, and you're expecting to see results in 30 days.
Yes.
And not even 30 workouts.
It's insulting sometimes. I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's kind of insulting to people like myself who work out every single day and put in my heart and soul into my health and to my nutrition. And people honestly can tell me that they take their health very seriously. And they put in a lot of effort, and they should see results that fast. It's insulting.
I wish I could see results that fast.
Yeah, me too. You should really change your perspective before you start making claims that you don't know much about.
Yeah, exactly. It's we have to re-examine our beliefs behind it, okay? Because just because I believe that I should be getting this in 30 days doesn't mean that that's actually the reality of it. Because there's a big difference between what it takes and what you think it takes.
Yes.
All right, ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number 4. Oh, sorry, no, this is actually, we're only on number 3. Nice.
I know.
Number 3, constantly changing fitness plans and short-term mindedness.
I thought we already talked about this.
We kind of already talked about it. So let's talk about short-term mindedness.
Yeah, I guess again, just having that perspective of it's going to only take so much time. It's not only is it going to take a lot of time, but to keep it afterwards is going to take a lot more time, right? It's one thing to get one muscle up, but to actually do a muscle up consistently and in a workout, that's a whole nother ball game. So like not having so much short-term mindedness in the sense of, you're going to accomplish something and then it's done, but like looking at it more long-term, right? Like this is forever. So what do I want to accomplish in my entire lifespan versus in the next year?
Exactly. And I think, and this is coming off the same theme as we did with the last one. I've had people come to me with like, hey, do you think I should do this diet? Or do you think I should do this cleanse? And I'm like, no. And this is why. And I asked them this is the specific question I actually asked them. I'm like, okay, can you do this for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
And then the answer is obviously no.
No.
I'm like, then it's not worth doing at all.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is to find habits and rituals and beliefs or whatever serves you the best that will actually sustain you for the rest of your life. If you can't do it for a day, then you shouldn't do it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, 100%.
Moving on. All right, we're on number 4 already. All right, refusing to try new exercises and overestimating abilities.
Oh man, both go hand in hand. Yes. I hear it all the time. I can't, that's a huge pet peeve of mine. When somebody tells me I can't, it's like, okay, cause you're going to die. And then they're like, oh no, I'm just scared. Okay. Well then that's totally different.
That's just fear.
That means I won't.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Replace I can't with what I won't.
And, always try and fail before just not trying at all. It's important to fail. And I think a lot of people don't know that. If you've been working out for 1 to 2 years, I really think it's time to do a self-evaluation of, have I been putting in enough effort? Do I know do I know my limits? Do I know what failure is? Have I pushed it there, right? Because I have a lot of members who've been coming to the gym for quite a few years now. And I truly feel like they haven't quite tapped into their full potential, and that's what's holding them back. And so, yeah, just really, really reevaluating kind of where you're at. And then we have members who think, or just clients in general, who just overestimate their abilities, and they have terrible workouts. And I feel sorry for them sometimes because I'm like, why are you pushing yourself in a way that you can't do? Like, a lot of it is ego. A lot of it, people just can't really let go, and they think they should be able to do something. I should be able to do a push-up, like a regular push-up off the knees and everything. And I'm like, well, you can't right now.
And that's okay.
Like, it's okay that you can't do 20 push-ups not off your knees. I don't expect you to, but I expect you to give full effort on your knees and doing them perfect and working on that. But a lot of people don't want to do that because they think that they're at a different ability and it's shameful to be less. And I'm just like, no, this is just where you're at. It's okay to know where you're at and to work from there and move forward.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why we're there in the first place is to help you progress the right way and to make sure that you get the best workout possible. Because a lot of times is that, and going off that same thing, is that people, when they do overestimate the abilities, they do the most complicated movement, or they do the highest amount of weight, or they try and max out every time. Yep. And it's not serving them in the long run because they're just, like they're suffering. Yeah. But that's about only the gain that you get. Your five
1-rep max attempts mean nothing if your entire warm-up, which consisted of 50 reps, were absolute shit. Right? It means nothing. Like, everybody's so attached with being able to do this high number or high skill. It means nothing if everything behind it is not good. Right? So you need to work better with your skill. Kind of, I think 90% of the adults that we see need to kind of actually take a step back and work on some basic movements again, reevaluate, can I even do these things? Can I do a basic, 30-second hollow body hold? Probably not. So you need to kind of reevaluate yourself. I think that's why goal setting is so important, and kind of, again, reevaluation every year of where am I at? Where should I be? Okay, how do I get there?
Yeah. 100%. I agree with you. I have nothing else to add to that. So
Yeah.
that was really good. All right, moving on. Number 6, ignoring nutritional advice and over-reliance on supplements. This is a big one. This one gets to me.
Oh, yeah. In reality, let's be honest, Matt, nobody really listens to our nutritional advice. Very few people do. And those of you out there, you're doing a great job. Like
You're the ones who are getting it.
You're getting
results.
You're
very
probably
quickly.
getting results, yeah, and you're probably doing awesome, and you feel really good, and you're probably preaching about, yeah, when I finally committed to what Caitlin and Matt said, I saw results. That could be you, everybody, but like you guys don't listen.
It's true.
I hate to say it, but a lot of people just, I mean, it's almost like too hard for people to believe that it's so simple. You just eat high quantities of protein, low quantities of carbs. In reality, again, 90% of the people in the gym don't work out hard enough to eat that many carbs. You guys don't need a lot of carbs. You don't need oatmeal. You don't need rice. You honestly don't even need sweet potato because there's not enough exercise to complement these things. We want these things because they taste good and because they're easy and they're just kind of like a part of daily life. But in reality, what most people need is just plain old protein, some fruit and vegetables. That's about it. I mean, and we give that nutritional advice. We run nutritional challenges, and every year it's kind of like people just fall into the same habits.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, and where I fall in the same rut too. Whereas you always think that there's some sort of magic bullet that someone's not telling me. It's like there's some secret that is out there that is going to solve this problem once and for good. It's going to be easy. When really, in reality, and once I got over that, and I realized that at the end of the day, it's just doing
less.
It's doing less, but it's at the end of the day, it's just doing ordinary things for extraordinary periods of time.
Yeah, and I think again, like Matt and I have done we've tried a lot of different things.
We've tried it.
We've done it. We've done it for the amount of time needed to see benefit or no benefit. And so through experience, I can honestly say by cutting out a lot of this excess stuff, I'm living the healthiest I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I know a lot of people, I hear it all the time. Oh, you're young or it's genetic and whatnot. Well, honestly, you can't say that because Matt and I don't know our history, our medical history at all. So we don't know if it's genetic. We don't know if our past was, or our parents were athletic or not. We were just going based on how we feel and how our experience is. And through experience, I really think that we have found the key to do it all. And because we used to eat totally different before.
Oh yeah.
And like now we eat, way less.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. Like, and there was a time when you and I started at zero, just like everybody else. When we started with no fitness, no idea about nutrition. There was a time where I avoided the weight room like a plague.
Yeah. The last 10 years have been totally life-changing
100%.
For sure. And talking about supplements, I know that was the second part of the question. There is no supplement that is going to help you survive other than food.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I know everybody out there wants what should I be taking to?
Oh yeah. That's another common question I get all the time. Like, Matt, what supplements should I be taking? I'm like, well, I don't even know what you're eating right now.
Yeah. Again, less is more. Focus on less things before you start adding things in. There are only really a handful of supplements that have been proven to help fitness. Everything else is honestly total, just how you feel.
Yeah.
How it affects you and how you feel on it. So to say that it works or it doesn't work, you really can't say. It's just kind of what you want and what you like and how your body responds. But again, the only way you can tell is through consistency. So if you can't even do, basic workout every day, sleep 8 hours and all that stuff consistently, how are you going to consistently add in supplements? Yeah,
supplements is at the very top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
It's the last thing that you need to worry about. Once you have your sleep, your stress management dialed in, once you're eating vegetables with every meal, once you're hitting your protein intake every day, then we can worry about supplements.
Yeah.
And I think as someone who's, I'm personally have over-relied on supplements, and I can honestly tell you, I've tried a lot of supplements.
Oh man, I can vouch for that too. Matt has a lot of supplements. We've thrown out a lot of
supplements. And believe me, I've tried it. I've tried almost everything. And I can honestly say that now that I've kind of really dialed in, like, and got my basics down, I don't need that much. It's the basics. If you want to know what the basics are, I'll go over that later. But I mean, as someone who's tried it and tried to and like rode the whole supplement train, thinking that the supplements would outweigh bad habits or poor sleep, bad nutrition, going out drinking. Like, no, it does. You can't outwork
bad
that.
Habits is a good way to say it.
Yeah, and so like now that I'm really dialed in with my habits, and I'm only taking a small amount of supplements, which I consider just the essentials. I feel my energy's better, and my workouts are better. My body composition is better. I'm just better overall.
Yes.
All right, moving on. I like that one. That was good. Number 7. Underestimating the importance of recovery.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's just talk. One point of recovery, I mean, that sticks out to me, that is a pet peeve. Stretching, like, mobility. Let's just talk about that for a second. Mobility is something you can do on your own, at your own time, at your own leisure. I really, truly feel that the gym, if you're going to a gym to take a class or to do a workout with a personal trainer or whatnot, stretching is not a priority. We're not here for yoga. We are here to work out and to, get some fitness in. Stretching can be done on your own time, again, at your own leisure. And that is something people just take for granted. They don't even care. They don't even do it. And then they wonder why they're so tight or things hurt. And it's like, well, I mean, did you even like kind of stretch or move around, on your own time? And the answer is always no.
Yeah.
And again, you cannot tell me that you can't find time to stretch when you can find time to watch TV.
100%. And also in the same category of recovery, sleep and what else is there
Stress.
other than sleep? Sleep, stress. But I'm going to focus on sleep. Is that I've had people come to me and be like, oh man, like I'm having all these food cravings. I can't resist it. And my workouts are bad. I'm not motivated. And then I'm like,
stay up all night.
I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, and I ask them, I'm like, how many hours are you sleeping? And they're like, 3 to 4. And I'm like, well, let's start with that.
Yeah. And when people say they can't sleep or they don't have everything goes hand in hand. Like you have to start understanding that everything affects one another.
Yes, it all works together.
If you only fix one, you will never fix the whole problem. You have to start fixing everything. You have to create a routine. And until you start creating, I mean, everybody knows this. I mean, it's been said thousands of times. Everyone has heard this. The most successful people out there have a routine and they stick to this routine and they never let the routine falter. Okay. And once you have that, everything will fall into place.
And just FYI, on recovery as well, is that you don't get fitter during the workout. You get fitter during the recovery.
Yeah.
It's like you get fitter when you repair yourself after the workout. The workout is actually technically hurting you.
Yeah. You're tearing, muscle
you're breaking
fibers.
yourself down. So you are hindering your progress with all the bad habits you're doing outside of the gym's 4 walls. So it's extremely important that it's actually way more important that you have everything dialed in outside of the gym, even before you even come into the gym in the first place, because you're not going to maximize your results.
Otherwise, it's a waste of time.
I can't tell you how many people have been stuck in the same place for years who are doing the exact same thing in the gym, and then they're frustrated that they're not making progress, and then yet they still do the exact same habits outside the gym.
Yep. And they expect results, and it's almost funny. Sometimes you can just almost laugh at it. Because
I repeat myself, because they ask me the same questions over and over, thinking that I'm going to give a different answer. Yes. And I'm like, the answer is the same every time, and you're just not executing on it. Yeah. And again, you could be so much further along if you just made 1 or 2 small changes outside of the gym and just focused on these 2 to 3 things and make so much more progress.
Yeah.
So, all right. Number 8, focusing solely on aesthetics. This one's kind of controversial.
Oh yeah. Aesthetics is hard because you shouldn't only focus on the number on the scale or how you look, because what you think you want to look like or what weight you think you want to be is going to be totally different, right? We all know that. I weigh way more now than I ever have in my entire life, but I look way better. Okay. And I know that's really hard for people to understand if you haven't been there, but body composition is going to change. And so, but at the same time, aesthetics is important because it's important to, feel good about how you look.
Oh.
I work out for aesthetics. I'm not going to lie. Like, I work out to look good, to look like a trainer, to look like I work out. I want it to show that I put in a lot of effort at the gym. That's important to me. So I don't want to be vain in the sense that aesthetics really it does matter. I want to look good for my husband, right? I want to look good for my gym. I want to represent it well. Like, there's a lot of things that go into that. But at the same time, I know that like how I look is going to be different for everybody else.
Yeah.
So, it just depends. I mean, it's important to look good, feel good. I think that really is motivating in the sense.
Yeah. And I think the only downfall of focusing on aesthetics and why it could be a pet peeve is when you skip things.
Yeah.
Or you don't show up to do something particular just because, well, it won't make me look as good. Excuse me. But I'm going to skip this, but my fitness itself is going to take a hit, but because you can look healthy and not be healthy.
Yes.
So, I mean, you have to remember that like a big thing with me is like, I'm going to work out for my health first. Aesthetics comes second.
Yeah. I mean,
That's me personally.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people who focus on aesthetics only never give themselves the benefit of like, well, are you feeling better? Yes. Are you eating better? Are you making better choices? Yes. Like, there's a lot of other yeses out there that they're not focusing on, right? But like, what matters to them most is the aesthetics. But
yeah, focusing only on aesthetics can be a really bad thing.
Yeah. Hey, at the same time, I mean, like I said, I wanted bigger legs, for example. And so you told me like, well, then you better do legs every day. And so I was like, all right, well, then that's what I'm doing. And because
what happened?
And I got bigger legs. And so I mean, it's good and bad, right? It kind of goes hand in hand. It shouldn't be like the only thing that you're focused on, but at the same time, it is very motivating because it is what you see.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Number 9, not asking for help when needed. And this is our final one.
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys, we are full of knowledge. I do this, constantly. Matt and I, we research a lot. We do this full time. Ask more questions. I think that's the number one thing I ask more from my clients, from my members is like, ask more questions, reach out, like ask me what I think, what you should be doing and how much weight should you be lifting? Do you look good? Hey, can you film me really quick with my phone so that I can see it later? I think coaches are underutilized so much by clients. I mean, you pay for a service. Why not use it and use it as much as you can?
Yeah, maximize
it as much as you can. Ask us questions like, we're willing to go above and beyond for you if you're willing to put in the effort. And that's, I think, what makes good coaches. And so that's like one thing I can say, like just reach out more.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually part of the main reasons why we started this podcast in the first place was because a lot of these things that we talk about are common reoccurring things. And by recording it and putting it out there and having a reference point for everyone to have, it allows us to coach you even more. Mm-hmm. But if there's something specific that we can solve for you in real time in like a class where we're coaching you or when you just see us around, please just ask us because we like talking about this stuff in the first place and we want to help and we want to give you as much knowledge as we can. And, that's the whole point is to make, fitness knowledge accessible, engaging, and effective for everyone. Yeah, for sure. And I think that kind of leads us into our final topic that we're going to talk about, which is motivation. And that is something we get asked a lot, like very frequently, daily almost. How do you stay motivated? And this is a really hard thing to answer because I even spent some time doing research on this, like just Googling it and being like, well, I mean, is it an emotion? Is it a feeling? And I couldn't really find a good answer. And the only really thing that stuck out to me when I read about it was that the greatest motivator is fear. Yeah. And that's the only thing that really stuck with me when I was reading about it. Yeah. I mean, I get asked a lot, like, Caitlin, how do you stay motivated to work out, or how do you push through in a workout that when it gets hard and when it's like burning? So 2 different things, right? Number 1, how do you stay motivated to work out?
really hard to answer. I mean, I've had this feeling my entire life of I want to push myself. I want to be the best, and I'm going to have to work hard to do it. And I felt like that since a young kid. Now, I know not everybody has that. And so I guess, like Matt said, what motivates me is fear, and so many fears. I mean, I'm full of fears. Fear of, not being the best, fear of being like looked down upon as like not a good coach or not a good trainer. So I want to work really hard to be opposite of that. Fear of not being able to take care of my family, fear of not being fit when I'm old and having to like be in a care home. I mean, there's just so many things that, and I don't know if people like take me seriously or not when I say this, but that I really do think of these things on days when I'm not motivated to work out. And those days occur every week because Matt and I and all the coaches out there spend majority of our time motivating and talking to and coaching all of you. And so that expends a lot of our energy. And so when it comes down to then motivating ourselves, it's very difficult. But what sticks out for me the most is I'm not going to not take the opportunity to work out.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, no matter how, it doesn't matter how I feel. It has to get done, right? It has to get done because it's a requirement, because it makes me feel better. If I don't do it, I'm going to feel worse. Again, another fear, feeling worse, right? I know it's going to make me feel better, so I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it the best I can with the time and energy that I have.
Right.
And when you have that mindset of it's going to be done every day with the best that I can do at that time, it's a lot easier to take on. There is no motivation. It's just a task, another habit that you have during the day, another ritual to the routine, and it just happens. And yeah, it just becomes a part of life. And so I guess that to me, there is no motivation. It's just fear of failing.
Yeah, I think it's important to, I wouldn't say eliminate the word motivation from your vocabulary, but at least reframe the term of what motivation really is. And I think it's important to remember that emotions largely are the fueling source of motivation. So a lot of times it's like, when you are motivated, think about how you feel. Usually you have energy.
Yeah.
Usually you're in a good mood. Usually that there's, things are going well in life in general. So, but what happens when, all those emotions are down? So you have to, it's for me, I have to recognize that that my motivation is largely stemmed from my emotions. And I like what you said about fear, and fear is a huge motivator for me because I've been sick twice now in my life. I've almost died twice. And so my health it's really easy for me to be motivated because I can see firsthand how quickly your health can go to zero.
Yeah.
And how scary that is. And believe me, it's very scary. And you don't, until you've experienced it yourself, and I've experienced twice now where I was extremely close to death, like literally, like the doctors told me is like, if it was another 24 hours, you would be dead. That was where the words uttered. And Caitlin, you were there to witness that. And another time when I was 20, when I was bled out, they said that you could go into cardiac arrest at any moment unless we start blood transfusions right away. And I ended up going through 18 units of blood before they could stop the bleeding. And when you're in that situation, especially when, like, at the time I was 30 and the other time I was 20. So I'm not like known for having health conditions. And both of them were things outside of my control.
Yeah.
That just happened. One of them was genetic. So it just happened to happen. And the other one was just bad circumstances.
Bad timing,
just really bad timing, bad circumstances.
Bad luck.
And it can happen in the snap of a finger.
Yeah. And what's great about your stories, Matt, is that because you were in good health, I think you made a very fast recovery. The doctors were almost kind of like surprised with how quickly you recovered from both. And I think it's because of your lifestyle and how, and
my body was resilient.
Yeah. If you were in if you were in poor health condition,
I probably would have died.
Probably wouldn't have made it. So
exactly.
I think, like we said, like just taking care of yourself for those, you don't want to ever have those what if moments. I don't want to live for what if moments. I always want to make sure that I put in the full effort. Should something happen, I did all I could. I wasn't living in the what if.
Yeah.
And, like a lot of people want to say that they do take their health seriously. And I want to just go out there on a limb and say, no, you don't. You do not take your health seriously.
It's such a broad statement, too.
Because if you did, you would be making a lot better decisions and following through with those decisions to the very end. I mean, for example, I just spoke to my mom the other day, and she's retired. She's been retired for 1.5 years now. And 1.5 years ago, when she first retired, I told her, I want you to get a personal trainer, and I want you to start working out. This is going to be very important for you going into, she's 67 now, going into the future. And I want to make sure you're healthy. I want you around, I want you to be around your grandkids. This is very important to me. And let's all guess at how many personal training sessions she's had in 1.5 years.
0.
Yes, it's been 0. And we just spoke on the phone the other day, and I had asked her, how long has it been since you've been retired? 1.5 years. And, did you just think if you had gotten a personal trainer 1.5 years ago, where you would be right now instead of where you're at? And she's not in, the best health, and she could be in a lot better health had she taken me seriously. And I told her, you don't take your health seriously, at least not to me. And she said, yes, I do. And I said, no, you don't, because you would have taken action. You wouldn't have waited 1.5 years to be having this conversation with me. Mm-hmm. And so again, actions speak louder than words. Okay. 100%. And so I think people need to be a little bit more aware of what they're doing, and that everything is in your control.
Yeah. And 100%. I think, and people grossly they overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year.
Yeah. Zoom out. I think people need to zoom out more and, reflect. Reflection is super important on where you've been, where you're going, having a plan and a goal. Some people have no plan or goal when it comes to fitness. They just know they need to do it. And yes, everybody needs to do it, but you're getting nothing out of it if you have no direction.
Yeah.
you need
clarity.
Even if your mindset is, I need to work out to be healthy. Okay, great. But you need something to direct you.
That's like saying, I want to be a good person. Yeah. I mean, it's way too broad. So you have to be more specific. What do good people do?
Yes.
And then get in the niche down even more. What specifically can I do? And that leads me perfectly into what I want, some points I want to talk about, which is, instead of treating motivation as a feeling or something that you do or a result of something or a result of an emotion, treat motivation like a skill. I think discipline is a skill. Mm-hmm. And I think it's something that can be developed over time.
Yes.
And so, I like to think of it as, this is just how I think. And this is, I hope this really helps all of you who are listening. And I try to be more specific and ask what competencies is needed to be motivated. So asking myself I'm not motivated. What do I need to be motivated? And what specifically is holding me back from being motivated? Mm-hmm. Is it that I'm tired? Is it that I don't want to just do an intense workout? Is it that I just don't want to show up? And then once you are specific in what is specifically lacking, it's much easier to isolate what that is. Mm-hmm. And then you're able to develop that into a skill. So for example, a good one for me is intensity. Sometimes I just don't want to go that hard. I'm tired. I've had a long day. I don't want to do an intense workout and suffer. That's fine. The solution is I still show up anyways, and I compensate that by doing more volume.
Yes.
I just go longer.
At low intensity for a longer period of time.
So there's a solution to every problem. You just have to identify it.
Yes.
And figure out what that is. So another good one is a lot of people tell me, well, I'm just tired. Okay. Well, how can we fix that?
Yeah. Are you sleeping?
And are you nutrition?
Eating? Yeah.
Yes. Because I can't believe how much that helps with motivation. Yes. Because when you feel good, guess what? What kind of emotion does that evoke?
Yeah, a good one.
Exactly.
Positive.
You feel good. So it's a lot easier to be motivated when you feel good, right?
Yes.
When you
everything goes hand in hand. I mean, it's just a snowball effect. And once you start realizing that, again, things just start getting a lot easier.
Yeah. And then it's also what story am I telling myself?
Yeah.
Am I telling myself I'm not motivated? Yeah. You have to kind of am I a motivated
Everybody
person?
is not motivated. I think a whole big thing is stop feeling so special. We're all the same. We all go through the same feelings and the same emotions. But like you said, It's about how do you attack them, identify, and then make change.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you have to, once you identify it, it makes it, clarity is such a huge thing. This is what I talk about, clarity a lot. And when you can gain clarity on something, then you're able to actually know what's going on. Because if you don't know what's going on, you have no idea what to do about it.
Yes.
Let's kind of get into a framework of like how people can actually get motivated and kind of get into this framework. And I think one thing that holds people back, or one reason why people aren't motivated, is because of uncertainty of whether or not like the task that they do is actually going to work.
Yeah.
And I think embracing uncertainty as part of the journey is essential.
Yeah. Well, I was telling you this before. I mean, people are uncertain things are going to work, but I mean, it is going to work. How many times have you been told sleeping more is better for you? Eating vegetables is better for you. Eating more protein. I mean, all these things, you never see an unfit person preaching something different, right? You never see somebody who's successful telling you that, oh yeah, it was so easy. I half-assed all the work and it just all, the story is all the same, right? Hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of reps, a lot of the story's all the same. And why do you think it's going to be different for you? It's not. It's going to be the same thing, right? So just accepting and embracing the fact that this is how it's supposed to be. This is what everybody feels.
Yeah.
Push through.
And that reminds me of a conversation I actually had with someone. And then they were telling me about how hard this was and like how hard the nutrition was, how hard it was to work out like this frequently. Excuse me. And I asked them, I was like, did you expect this to be hard? And they said yes. And I go, well, this is what hard feels like. Like, this is exactly like, I think
congratulations.
we romanticize what, like, everybody wants, like the highlight reel, like the sports highlight reel, like boom, boom, or the CrossFit highlight reel where we're all like, giving high fives, we're working hard,
big lifts.
And then it's like a 30-second highlight reel, like an Instagram reel, and then it's just over. Well, really, like that highlight reel is going to be 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, really, when you think about it, like everybody wants that highlight reel with the high fives and everything, but nobody wants to go through the middle round of it.
Yes. The hard work, the effort, the lows, the highs, everything in between, taking the small steps, actually backtracking, making things better. Like, there's so much to the journey and you have to stick with it if you want the results. Getting there is the hardest part. Maintaining, to me, is the easiest.
Yeah.
Because now that I'm at this point, I mean, I do want to go further, don't get me wrong, but like, I'm never going to go back.
Absolutely.
I'm never going to get less than this.
Well, and also everything that was worth having has a price tag to it. So it's either you can pay the price of doing it when you're not motivated or just stop wanting it. Yeah. Like, stop wanting the thing. Like, it's that simple. Like, there is no other option.
Yeah.
I think people think that there's some sort of middle ground here where it's not. It's like you either do it when you don't want to do it or stop wanting it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to make this into a t-shirt. This is my trademark, all right, everybody? It's called, it's for now, it's not forever. And I think you really need to stop and think about that for a second. Like, the things you're doing for now, it's not going to be forever. It's the price you pay right now in order to get to where you want to be. Right. And once you accept, no matter if you have an injury or something comes up in life or whatever, it's just for now. It's okay. It's temporary. You're going to push through it. Let's make it work. Change the routine. Still get everything done. It's not forever. It's okay. And I think people get really worked up when there's a little bit of change. Change is good. It's honestly good for training. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Your body can adapt so quickly to training and to movements and to exercise. So change is good. Change in life, change in your training, everything. It's good. It's good to have, I forget what it's called, like stress for the body is good because it makes you work harder.
Yes.
Right. And it makes you push harder. If there's no stress on the body, you're just going to get worse. And so, I mean, it's all good things. And once you kind of are like, okay, this is good. It's okay that I'm feeling this. This is normal. That's when you can start pushing forward.
This is what hard feels like. And, just to share a few more other key points of that, I think, just what helps me stay motivated and, and I hope that, again, I hope this helps, is that, you know, I try to be as focused as possible. And I think a lot of times that people want to do everything.
Yeah.
Like they want to, you know, they want to go hang out with their friends. They want to play fantasy football. They want to watch football on Sundays. They want to barbecue. They want to do all these different things. And then they're wondering why they lack motivation to work out. Well, it's like you're doing too many things.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like focus, you know, you got to focus. And the less you have, you know, to worry about, the more focused you can be, which if you have more focus, the more motivated you can be. And, you know, focus is what you don't do.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about eliminating things. Okay. A lot of times I think people think that they need to add more when really it's about, you know, how can we prune the tree? Right.
Yeah.
And, and, you know, one of my favorite quotes is, I can't remember who said it, but he said, in order to do great things, we must do fewer things. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and he also said that focus is one of the highest forms of intelligence, because your ability to say no to things. And a lot of times when it comes to fitness nutrition, we have to say no. Mm-hmm. It's like, we can't go out with our friends, you know, till 2 a.m. because guess what? That's going to impede my recovery. So I need to be in bed by 9 or 10. Yeah. I'm not going to go out and eat the burger and fries. I'm going to eat my, you know, protein and vegetables. You know, it's your ability to say no to things and to eliminate things and to do less.
Making better choices in that sense. I mean, I live my life a lot on a rewards base and earning things. I have to I constantly push myself to earn every good thing that I give myself. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's across the board, whether it be like, I clean my house immensely in order to earn like 20 minutes of TV time. Like it's silly things like that. But like, that's kind of how I live my life. And I'm constantly trying to earn my right in other things, and having a plan and being very goal oriented. I don't have a vision board or anything like that, but I do have like a constant ongoing list of tasks and things I want to do, overall goals, how I'm going to get there. And I write things out in order to plan and be successful and stay motivated in that sense. Having a plan and revisiting that plan often is super important. And now that we're getting into the end of the year and into the new year, I know this is a big time for people to make new goals and whatnot, but like, revisit those goals. Okay. Have a plan on when you're going to revisit those goals and where you should be at that moment and that time, and have a plan. And if you're not there, that's okay too, right? You just, you make an adjustment and you move forward. Like, don't get down on yourself for you're not getting there. But I think a lot of people lack success because they lack vision, focus, like you said, and execution.
Yeah. The ability to change behavior.
Yes.
I mean, and another key point is that, you know, I want to be an intelligent person.
Yeah.
And I did read somewhere that again, kind of hand in hand with focus, is that one of the highest forms to know if someone's intelligent or not is their ability to change behavior within the same environment.
Yes.
So a good example is like, you know, I hold up a red card and I slap you across the face. The second time I hold up the red card, you duck. So it's your ability to change behavior. So there's a consequence to this happening.
Yeah.
And it's your ability to change behavior and change behavior quickly.
Yeah. And you have to go all in, right? You can't just kind of like half ducked, like how your example is. You still might get hit. So it's either all or nothing, right? So everybody who's trying to play that fine line of, oh, I kind of track my food, or I kind of work out all the time. Like it's either all or nothing. There's
exactly.
And I'm going to be very honest. You're going to see no result until you go all or nothing.
Exactly. And you know, fitness at the end of the day is hard for two reasons. Either you're leaving your comfort zone or you're staying in it.
Yeah.
Like it's
hey,
true.
Another good shirt.
Yeah, you're either leaving it or you're in it. And I'll kind of wrap things up here with this. And this is from a book called The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. And he's an author who's worked with the New York Yankees. He's a mental performance coach. And I think this might help those of you who are listening who are lacking with motivation. And one of his key points in the book, The Alter Ego Effect, is that you identify someone who you want to be like, and then you do what they do.
Yeah.
So for example, like if you want to be a highly motivated person, identify someone specific who is highly motivated or who you want to be like, and then pretend like you're them. Like, okay. And then like ask yourself, like, what would they do?
Yeah.
If they weren't motivated to do something, like, well, they wouldn't skip the workout. They wouldn't skip the protein. So I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because I want to be like them.
Yeah.
And I really hope that helps, because that helps me a lot too. Because I sometimes get caught up in my own, you know, self-limiting beliefs. And I think about, you know, what would this person do who I admire? I'm not going to say.
Tell me.
No, I'm not going to say. I'm going to keep that a secret. Maybe I'll reveal that on another podcast because I actually want to get him on the podcast.
Oh, cool.
So I'm not going to.
Oh, it's not me? Darn.
It's not you, unfortunately. Any final thoughts before you wrap things up?
No, I hope you all who are listening are now motivated to get out there and get after it. All right. Just know that it's find a fear, find something that pushes you, and go all in.
100%. I love that. And I'm going to leave with this final thing. And I hope this, again, spikes a little bit of motivation for you, because at the end of the day, no one can diet for you. No one can lift weights for you. No one can work out for you. And no one can ensure that you are getting enough rest and recovery. So that's why I respect those who maintain their fitness, because it's 100% on you.
Yep.
And it's 100% earned, not given.
Yes.
And no one can take that away from you, which makes fitness such a valuable asset.
Yes. Hard work pays off.
Hard work does pay off. Well, thank you so much for listening. If this was helpful, please leave us a 5-star review so that way we know to make more content just like this. Please follow us on social media at Red Wolf CrossFit and DM your questions or content suggestions there. We're always looking for new things to talk about in the podcast. Until next time, good luck, have fun.
Nailed it.